Imagine carrying stones on your back every single day of your life. On the icy slopes of Nepal, there's a people who do exactly that. Men, women, and even children walk along dangerous mountain trails carrying stone slabs that weigh more than they do. They are the Tamang, a community that for more than 70 years has survived by taking from the earth what little it offers, turning pain into labor and labor into survival. In the silent mountains of Nepal, where the wind blows cold and the mist covers the valleys like an ancient veil, there is a sound that never disappears, the metallic echo of hammers striking rock. It is the sound of survival, the sound of the Tamang people, a community that for more than 70 years has lived from the artisanal extraction of slate, the gray stone that covers rooftops and decorates houses in the distant cities. There, among the cliffs of Rukum, men and women turn mountains into livelihood, breaking the very ground beneath them just to keep on living. The quarries cling to steep slopes over 1,500 meters above sea level. The day begins before the sun rises, the cold cuts through the air, and the ground is still damp from the early morning fog. But on the slopes, the first strikes can already be heard. The Tamang people do not use modern machines or explosives to extract slate. With hammers, chisels, and sheer physical strength, they break the blocks and cut them by hand, turning large slabs into smaller pieces ready to be transported. Dancing, 71 years old, lifts his hammer and strikes the block with force. He has been doing this since he was 15. He learned from his father, who learned from his grandfather. 3 generations of Tamang miners shaping the rock with their own hands. Next to him, Kaimi, 61, hits the iron against the stone and smiles with worn-down teeth. I grew up listening to this sound. It's the sound of life to them. It is not just work, it is heritage. It is the continuation of a story that began when the first Tamang arrived in these mountains, seeking shelter and finding in the stones what they needed to survive, because in some villages, farmland is infertile and slate is the main source of income. When the sun rises over the mountains of Rukum, the golden light does not bring rest. It brings heat, dust, and more work. The quarry comes alive with the rhythmic sound of hammers, striking in sequence, mixing with voices, brief laughter, and the grunts of effort from a people who learn to survive by extracting their own livelihood from the earth. Tamang men and women move among the rocks with slow, calculated steps, as if dancing on living, dangerous ground. The soil is unstable, the risk is constant, and a single misstep can turn everything into tragedy. There are no machines to ease the work, no safety equipment, only simple tools and calloused hands. The slate blocks break away from the slope with a dry crack, and any one of them could crush a person. The fine dust enters their lungs, and the cough becomes a permanent companion. Many laborers suffer from respiratory problems and chronic pain, but they keep going because stopping is the same as going hungry. The quarries of Goiri, Kavre, and Sindupalchak are like open wounds on the mountain. Every cut, every crack, every piece torn from the rock tells a story of resilience. In Goiri, almost every household has someone working in the quarry. Every family carries a story marked by the stone. There is always someone who fell, someone who got sick, someone who never came back from the quarry. Yet still, the routine never changes. The elders wake before dawn, and the young follow the same path, repeating gestures that span generations. With the blocks ready, the women carry the heavy pieces with the same dignity as the men. They tie the blocks and secure them to their foreheads with thick ropes, going up and down narrow, slippery trails dozens of times a day, carefully balancing their bodies. The weight pulls them backward, but they keep moving. Each load can reach 40 or 50 kilograms. Even so, many still smile. They sing traditional songs, passed down through generations, to ease the heavy burden, turning effort into rhythm and exhaustion into resilience. Every stone delivered means one more plate of rice on the table. The work is grueling, but the pay is minimal. Each stone is worth about 10 rupees, and those who carry 100 pieces a day earn just enough to buy the basics. Some men manage to extract dozens of blocks and sell them for up to 70 rupees each, but that money never fully ends up in the hands of those who pulled them from the mountain. If the quarry doesn't belong to the family, the profit is shared with the owners. When the family owns the quarry, each block is sold for $2 to $4. Per month, they make around $1,400. but after paying workers and transportation costs to the big city, the real profit is around $300. In some Tamang villages, life revolves around the rock. Children grow up watching their parents covered in dust and follow the same path, not because they want to, but because sometimes there is no other option. The sound of hammers is the first thing they hear when they wake up and the last before they go to sleep. Many start helping when they are still young, carrying tools, collecting fragments, or stacking smaller stones. By 12, they already master the adult's work. By 30, their bodies begin to break down. By 50, they look as if they've lived 100 years. Others, already over 70, continue because there is no alternative. Here, age doesn't bring rest, only more scars. The stones pulled from the slopes are taken to trucks heading to the cities of Kathmandu, Pokhara, and Butwal. There, the slate takes on a new shape. It's polished, cut, and sold at high prices in luxury hotels, on the roofs of modern homes, in temples and sidewalks. It shines under the urban sun, but no one in the cities imagines where it came from or who suffered to extract it. Behind every stone, there is a hidden story of struggle, a piece of someone's life spent balancing the weight of the world on their shoulders. At the end of the day, when the sun begins to disappear behind the mountains, the body begs for rest, and the carriers sit among the stacked blocks. But tomorrow, everything starts again, and the cycle will continue, as it has for more than 70 years. Even so, there is a kind of pride that no amount of money can buy. For the Tamang, the stone is not an enemy. It is a companion. They say the mountain feeds them and therefore must be respected. Working with it is hard, but it is also a form of honor. Some say proudly, "We are children of the stone." The homes of the Tamang are simple, made of mud and wood, but the roofs of most houses are slate, the very same stone they take from the mountain. Night falls slowly over the mountains of Rukum. The cold wind blows between the rocks. They look out at the mountains and speak in low voices. They talk about the day, about the weight of the stones, about the children who might one day be able to study and leave the quarries behind. It's a simple dream, but one filled with hope. "I've broken stones my whole life," says one of the elders, "so my children can break the cycle." Between the first strike of the hammer and the last ray of sunlight, the Tamang people fight not only against the mountain, but against being forgotten. In the cities, very few know their name. Tourists walk on sidewalks made of the same stones these men and women rip from the mountainsides. The rooftops shine with polished slate, and no one imagines how many lives bent under its weight so it could arrive there. The work that sustains the cities is the same work that slowly consumes those who do it. But even with wounded hands and weary bodies, the Tamang continue. They continue because the work is more than survival. It is heritage, it is memory, it is identity. They are what the modern world has forgotten. People who still live in rhythm with the land, who know the value of every drop of sweat, who see in the hardness of stone the beauty of resilience. The Tamang people's diet is simple, rustic, and completely shaped by their hard labor and the harsh conditions of the Nepalese mountains. While working, they don't have the time or the setup for full meals. They bring food from home in small metal tins or wrapped in cloth, usually eating while sitting on stones during brief breaks. They don't stop for a full lunch. They make quick pauses and eat fast in the shade of the rocks or seated on slate blocks. In the villages, lunch is usually simple but warm and nourishing, cooked over wood-fired stoves. Dal bhat tarkari is Nepal's national dish, and also the most common among the Tamang. Meat is rare during the week, reserved for celebrations or special occasions. After the long day in the quarries, dinner becomes the most important moment when the family gathers together. It's usually a warm, comforting meal. The stone carriers of the Tamang people live where few would dare to stay. They endure the weight, the cold, and the uncertainty with a courage that time cannot break. They are the ones who shape with their own hands what the world calls progress, and they do it unseen, without recognition, guided only by faith and resilience. And now imagine living like them, waking up before sunrise and carrying the weight of the mountain on your back. Would you have the courage? Leave your comment below. If you enjoyed the story, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can keep discovering communities that face the world's toughest challenges with traditions that few people know.